TikTok, it's time to rock. It's Sunday afternoon here in New Zealand, guys. I think it's just gone afternoon where Brad is, and so I think, am I right, bro? Is it afternoon where you are?
1:30.
126. 126. And look, there's a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple of reasons why we're here. We're here for one reason in particular. If you see the banner there on the bottom, happy 30th 24 Nights. Now, there's a bit of a story. If you guys follow Brad on Instagram, I had this album here. I had this album here on the original post, and got kind of pulled up by a couple of people saying, actually, this album's 32 years old. It came out in 89. 24 Nights is the 30th anniversary, and I'm going, holy crap. But to my defense, though, bro, I see this and 24 Nights as part one and part two. So give me a bit of slack there, brother.
Mate, it's, to be honest with you, it's kind of like the live extension of Journeyman to me. Yeah, I understood. I understood when you said that. I was just like, oh yeah, now I understand.
Oh my gosh. Oh, good man. He's sticking up for me. That's what we do around here on this show, is stick up for each other, bro. And there's a couple of other things too that we're doing. Guys, if you are regulars to the channel, you would have noticed that we've had some epic shows, especially on the 5150 show that we've had. We were lucky and fortunate enough, bro, to do an 8.5-hour show a couple of days ago in commemoration with Eddie Van Halen. Bro, that show's got over 1,000 views and close to 90 thumbs up. And yesterday, bro, we had a great show yesterday. Tell us about what happened yesterday on the 5150 show.
Oh, we had a fair warning takeover, basically. They took over the 5150 show. Yeah. It was great. I kind of just felt like I was sitting in the back seat of a car, cruising along, listening to Hot Summer Nights on my radio, just cruising back, listening to these cats talk about Van Halen. It was amazing. The drumming, like Jerry is so switched on with all that stuff. He just, talking about Alex Van Halen, and he was phenomenal. We're going to obviously be doing a part 2 on Alex Van Halen with him. And, mate, what a show. That was great. And, you guys did such an amazing job with the anniversary of Eddie's death. I want to commend you, Andrew, for 8 hours, or what was it, nearly 9 hours you were on that butt of yours on that chair, glued to the seat, talking Eddie Van Halen. So, mate, all of us in the chat, part of the channel, want to thank you for doing that. It was such an amazing thing. I was lurking in the background while I was at work. Obviously, I'm at work, so, I couldn't join you guys until towards the end of the day. But, if I wasn't working, I would have joined you guys. It was such an amazing thing. I mean, you had such amazing guests on. I'm hoping all those guests will come back on the show at some point as well. And, commend you, mate. You did such an amazing thing. You put it together. You sat on your butt for 8-9 hours talking about Eddie Van Halen, mate. Well done. That's a epic, brother.
Oh, bro, that means a lot to me coming from you guys. That means a lot to me because we do a lot, together, and I really, really appreciate that. But as I said before, our connection as co-hosts together on this channel kind of grew from Eddie's passing, and I've said that before, and. Yep. When we did that first show that no longer exists, and we got together and we talked about Eddie Van Halen, and, it meant a lot to me that you, no disrespect to the North America guys that were on the channel, on the show, but the fact that you were an Aussie just down the road made it more, I suppose, more more healing for me. And obviously we developed that relationship, and we've done a shitload of shows with the Rock Professor and Kurt since. I look forward to doing more with you, but look, that show was amazing. I agree with you. We had some great guests. We had Hoss on there. We had the two authors, Brad and Chris. We had Alan Garber come on. We had Brad on there. We had John ZD351 came in. He's here on the chat.
Yep.
Who's a big part of our channel now, John.
I'm our art director.
Yeah, you know, and this is what I like about what we decided when Brad and I decided that we would put something like this together. The immediate thing that we wanted to do, guys, and this is the honest to God truth, we wanted to chuck the invites out to the people in the chat who'd been following us. You know, that was our first focus. We wanted, and I chucked out a few invites to, you know, people, and for various reasons people didn't come on, and then obviously, you know, other people. But it was always the intention from the beginning to, you know, get the Van Halen fans together and from the chat and just spend some time hanging out, and having that 8-hour period or 9-hour period would have made it a little bit easier for some of the Europeans, bro, and the Americans. So thank you for that. It means a lot to me, you saying that. But I look forward, bro, to doing more shows. Look forward to doing more.
You know, we'll do an annual one for that. I think, you know, maybe I can take it. You know, if I'm still working at that point, which I'll be praying I am, we'll be, you know, I'll take a day off work for it. And it was a special moment, and I'm sure every Van Halen fan really appreciated that, mate. So well done.
Yeah, no problem. Have you got the chat up, bro? Do you want to do a quick roll call?
Got a few people lurking, but there's a few people messaging as well. So, mate, if you guys are in watching us, and I'm not sure, I can't see exactly how many are watching, but make sure you put a comment here and say hello. I'll mention the people that are actually committing and let us know they're here. We've got Music Therapy Laz, got Nelson. Welcome, Nelson. Thanks for joining us again. John, obviously John, big part of the channel now with his art direction. We've got Arvin. We've got Arvin in the chat. Who else? We've got Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Who else have we got? Can't go backwards anymore, mate. But thank you guys for joining us. You know, Andrew caught me at a good time. I was having a coffee, just strumming a bit of guitar here in my studio, and he goes, let's go on and talk a little bit about the 30th anniversary of a very special album and DVD to this channel. In particular, you know, Andrew, myself, this is probably, you know, the thing that made me deep dive into Clapton a lot more was this particular live DVD. You know, in particular, in Australia here, we had a MTV program called The Four Faces of Eric Clapton, and that made me deep dive into this particular record. So, you know, and from this, I rushed out and bought a pewter grey, you know, EC Strat and all sorts of things. It just became, the obsession started really from 24 Nights, the tone, the playing, the everything, mate. So yeah, happy 30th anniversary to 24 Nights. Amazing that it's 30 years ago. Wow, unreal.
Makes me feel old. Makes me feel old, bro. In a good way. In a good way.
We're only as old as we, you know, think we are. So I think I'm like 20, mate. So that's that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in my 20s, even I'm not. So
yeah.
You know.
And if you guys haven't already seen it, if you're watching the replay, I'll put over there. I'll put a link to two videos that Brad and I did with Michael, who's a good friend of our channel too. Now, and I'll also put a link to a wonderful article that Michael did where he interviewed the sound engineer of this album. So I'll attach that and the videos. I have to tell you guys that those couple of videos that Brad and I and Michael did were pretty good. Oh, yeah. They were pretty good. So go and check them out. I'll put those links there. But, bro, it's always a pleasure talking anything with you. But, you know, Eric Clapton's always always a key component of what we do around here. You've even got the T-shirt. I've got that T-shirt too. We got that T-shirt at the concert.
Yep, got that on.
There it is there.
How convenient, Andrew. I'm sitting wearing my Eric Clapton T-shirt and you send me a message, let's do a 24 Nights, 30 thing. Yeah.
I don't look as good in my T-shirt as Brad does, but, you know, it's getting a bit tight now, but, you know, stretch it a little bit, you know.
It's, you know, it's pandemic weight, they call it. It's all right, you know. Once the pandemic's done, you can start losing it again. Don't worry about it.
Awesome. I just want to do a quick shout out to John ZD351, bro, because he put this comment in the chat. We were talking about Toto last night, and as usual, John throws in these really, really cool, awesome, sophisticated, sarcastic sometimes comments, and he wrote this comment: Toto, as in Toto, Toto, and then Lee. You know, totally Toto. And I got it. I think Brad did too, because I put the comment up, but no one else did, I don't think. But, you know, we got it.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so, yeah, no, thank you, John. John's actually been very helpful promoting, you know, the show, myself even with my own music stuff. So, mate, like, thank you so much. And, you know, it's people like yourself and everyone in the chat and everyone that contributes to the channel in the chat and watching the shows back and the comments later, and that's why we keep doing it, Andrew, isn't it?
Oh, we've had some awesome comments, you know, on some of the streams that we've done, you know, the comments that people put in after, you know, obviously everyone that's participating in the chat with us, you know, shares some great stuff, but, you know, I'll never get tired of saying this, bro. I love what we do. I love our community. I love music. You know, music is what connects us. It's why we do this channel. It's why Brad makes music. It's the reason why Brad's got those guitars and amps behind him. The reason why Brad exists today is because of music. If Brad didn't have music, Brad would be, I don't know. I'd be a nutcase, bro, if I didn't have music.
If I didn't have music, I'd probably have a corporate job with lots of money and 2 homes and.
Yeah. Milking it, you know, on the high life, you know, because you sold your soul, and that's one of the great things. You know, I've been a friend for Brad for a year now, and yeah, so I, you know, I've got a bit of a inside situation on what's happening with Brad, you know, in Melbourne and stuff like that. So, you know, him being here on the show with us is, again, talking about music is part of that whole landscape that Brad's talking about. So, and we're lucky to have Brad here on this channel, bro, because, again, the insight that you bring to our channel from that music perspective just gives it that balance, you know, that we probably didn't have before. And, you know, we became fast friends, and so I wish you well, bro. I wish you well, and hopefully you have some freedom and do some gigs.
Well, look, you know, I'm humbled by that, so thank you. I'm just grateful to be able to do this. I'm no expert. I don't, you know, I just sort of give my opinions on stuff and my knowledge of things, and obviously that's what we do on this show, and it's just great to be part of it. I haven't been able to do any shows, haven't been able to do anything. So it's just great to be able to do these shows, and really the reasons why I'm playing guitar and writing songs and singing and things are because of these artists that we're talking about on a weekly basis. So it's just like a get-together down the pub with your mate having a beer talking about music. That's how I'm seeing these shows, and it's been great. And, mate, you know, I'm humbled by that. I'm actually a bit choked up, so thank you, Andrew.
No problem. So we've got Alan Garber in the chat too, and so Alan was with us on the EVH tribute show. He offered some great insights and some input, again with Brad and Chris. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen, at least go back and skim through 8 hours and just at least watch They're pretty early on in the stream. Just go and watch what these guys said and offered. I think they gave us a little bit more than probably what they gave other streams. At least I'd like to think that. At least I'd like to think that. I think they yeah. I think they appreciated it.
I really admired that. There was that part of the whole Van Halen tribute that you did there was probably one of the highlights for me, watching when Alan was on with the Brad and Chris, yourself. That was great. And well done, Alan, for that. And Alan is an expert. We're just disciples. We just, the music, we just giving our humble opinions most of the time. So yeah, there you go.
Well, Alan is, and even Chris and Brad recognised that, didn't they? So you got to give credit where credit's due, and I'll also put a link to an interview that I did with Alan a few months ago, where Alan was talking about the tunings. Alan's done his own video on his own channel discussing that a little bit more in depth too. So I'll put a link to that as well, because it's about knowledge sharing, and Alan's always been one of the guys who's been freely giving that stuff out for a long time. Doesn't charge you for it.
No, well, I was driving to a gig then, and I was listening. I was lurking in the background. I had it on my hands-free Bluetooth, listening to Alan on that one. So that was great. And I was really hoping I could have been on the show for that. But at some point, Alan will cross paths online on one of these shows, I'm sure.
We're going to get Alan on for a Led Zeppelin show, because if you guys don't know this, Brad and I do. If you guys thought Alan Garber knew shitloads about Van Halen, he knows even more about Led Zeppelin, which is another band very close to this channel, in particular Brad. So we've been having some correspondence between the three of us, talking about Led Zeppelin 4, a couple of shows that we did on that, and Alan's been kind enough to share some comments and some pics. So we're going to do something with Alan again on Led Zeppelin, and let him take over basically. And actually, I'll let Brad and him take over, and I'll just sit here and eat popcorn.
It'll be a Garber takeover, and we can just sit back and listen to the knowledge he's got of Led Zeppelin, and any Van Halen knowledge he's got as well. We'll soak that up as well while we're here. Yeah.
Well, that's what it's about. We're interested in learning, and that's one of the reasons why, again, I like this channel. And I think Music Laz put a comment up earlier, bro. That his wife, something about why he spends a lot of time on YouTube, because it's entertaining, it's informative. You can pick what you want to watch. It's not like sitting down watching normal TV, bro, where you've got to digest what they throw at you. YouTube, you can pick and choose, which is even better.
Mate, I don't even watch TV anymore, because it's just, I watch YouTube stuff,
Me too.
I don't, with the time differences and everything, I don't really find it easy to catch a lot of these ones live while they're happening, but I spend a lot of time watching them back. So, I have them on in the background while I'm cleaning the house and listening to everyone. So it's great. It's great. And that's how I'm catching up with the EVH tribute too, by the way. I'm putting it on while I'm like cleaning and doing other things. So hearing what's happening, because it's 8 hours, man. I can't sit there for 8 hours like you did. It's, I get a bit itchy.
No.
I get a bit antsy in the pants. I've got to get up and walk around and do things.
Yeah. Hey, we've got some cats in the chat. We've got Keith Campbell joining us, bro. As usual, we have Sonia here. Thank you, Sonia. I saw Helen here too. Helen Winter. Thank you, Helen. Helen's becoming a regular as well. We really, really appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to be on later with the Rock Professor. So this isn't the Sunday show, guys, early. Okay, so we're going to be going live with the Rock Professor. Brad's been itching about doing this album for months. He's been scratching at the door, asking for this album. So if you guys aren't aware of the album that we're going to be doing with the Rock Professor, Brad's going to tell you now.
We're doing the classic Doors album, LA Woman. So it's the Doors to me are like one of my all-time favorite bands, and I know they're not British electric blues, but we still do stuff on the channel that relates to it, and this is a very bluesy album. So, I don't know if you'll pick that up, Andrew. There's a heavy blues reference on the whole record.
Oh yeah,
and I'm really I'm going to save a lot of the content, for that show, so I'm not going to dive into it too much here. But I think Morrison was channeling his inner bluesman for this record.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, one of the good things about this channel too, we call it the British Electric Blues Show, and that's our brand name. But we can branch out and do other stuff. I'm going to pick a Tom Petty album soon. Yeah. We're going to do a Tom Petty album before the end of the year, and we've got a couple of other cool little surprises coming up too. Brad's going on location. Hopefully, if Melbourne sorts its shit out, he's going to be out there on location. Our reporter at large. We can't wait for that. We've been talking about that for a long time since Hoss jumped on. Brad's going to go and some rig rundowns. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Some geeky stuff. Some real geeky stuff with Hoss. And then obviously when that's organised, and so we've got a few things planned. But yeah, we are going to be doing a rig rundown show, and then he's going to be at a rehearsal room, and we're going to be there for that very first A chord. So we're going to be there for that, and that he plays through his rig. And by the sounds of it, looks like I'm going to be on site for a rig rundown on Jerry's drum kit now. So
yeah,
so let's have that'll be fun, and it's going to be great to be part of like their sound check and be part of all that as well. So really looking forward to that. So
Brooks, I chucked out an invite to Michael, and Michael said that he might join us. So he's got an invite, but we just wanted to get together because it's the 30th anniversary of a great album. As you know, Brooks, we've already done a two episode special on this album, so I just wanted to get together with Brad and talk about it. So Brad, 24 nights. I'm mate, I hate to get you to repeat yourself, but some standouts on this album. When you already mentioned it before that you saw it on MTV, that's what gave you the bug. You went out, you got the record. You bought the DVD. It taught you some lessons.
Yep. It taught me a lot of valuable lessons as a musician, not just as a guitar player, but as a musician, because the musicianship within that band itself, top notch. Honestly, probably one of the greatest lineups, in my opinion, that Clapton's ever had. And sound-wise, it's definitely my favorite sound that Clapton's ever had, even though I love all the eras of the tones and everything like that of Clapton. I'm not saying any of them are crap, but this for me crystallizes the right sound for Clapton with his guitar, the Soldano. That rig setup was phenomenal in my opinion. And his playing on this, I don't know if you picked this up, Andrew, but it's like a rejuvenated Clapton. There's something a little bit more he's digging deep. There's a lot of feeling in the songs. Mate, Old Love, for example, the solo in that is just phenomenal. On the DVD, it's just unbelievable. It's he's pulling past emotions into his guitar, and that's the mark of an amazing guitar player for me. They're putting what they're feeling inside, channeling it through the instrument. It's not even a technical thing. They're not worried about what they can be holding a note for like 2 minutes, vibratoing it. It's way more impressive to me if they're playing from the heart. And that's, for me, Clapton's, there's a rejuvenated sort of Clapton in this performance, without a doubt. This run of gigs. What are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
There's a couple of things, bro. The synthesis of Clapton around this period, he comes out and he's like the chairman of the board, bro. He's in command of his life, He's in command of the band. He's very self-assured of where he is. right down to the Armani suits. It's a different Clapton, that we'd seen previously. And I like that. I like the fact that he's coming out, and that self-assuredness comes across really, really strongly in the songs, but also in the DVD performance. The delicacy as well, the delicate touches, Brad, you've already said it, the way that he just holds some of those notes, some of the intros on Have You Ever Loved a Woman, it's just, we can sit and just watch that intro on repeat if you want, or listen to that intro on repeat. I think Michael also made a very, very good point when he was live with us, that it was his first example of how a band cooperates with each other, how a band gives each instrument space, how each instrumentalist, each musician is showcased in that DVD. And when you consider, bro, that DVD was 30 years ago, it was ahead of its time, bro. It was ahead of its time.
Oh, 100%. It still shocks me now to think that was 30 years ago. It still shocks me to think 30 years ago, I started deep diving into Clapton because of this release. I think I mentioned on the other shows before, like I was into Clapton from the greatest hits, like the Cream of Clapton and the Cream. Like I was into the Cream. Like all up and coming guitarists are, one of your first sort of guitar riffs you learn is Sunshine of Your Love, those sort of things. You dive into the Clapton and you get those leaks. But we know Clapton's history, and we know, at this particular time was like a rebirth of Clapton, and there was something quite special about this period. Obviously, moving from the cradle and things like that, moving forward, you can hear he was rejuvenated, and he was diving deep into his roots as well as just being an artist. But one thing, I want to step away from the guitar playing a little bit with Clapton and acknowledge how well he sings on this, because as guitar players, we always gravitate to the guitar. One thing that Clapton was really good at always doing was leaving space between the notes on the guitar. Like he'd phrase things like, and leave that gap. The way he sings, he would do those things, but vocally, he was doing the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He wasn't pushing himself. He was comfortable. I think he was in the pocket, and he realized that. I think that self-assuredness of knowing where he was, playing 24 nights, bro. He had achieved another status as a musician, even higher and higher. And with that comes responsibility. And I think this is one of the reasons why, in particular, bro, I love Clapton, because he acknowledges that. He's always acknowledged his fans. He always has. He had that period there where his son passed away, and then he came back, and we've already done a deep dive on the Unplugged album. And as Brad already mentioned, we've already done From the Cradle, and I'd love to go back and do a renegotiate that album and talk about that with you, bro, because I don't think we've even touched the surface on how important that album is. But this album, 89, this album here, 89, and that 91 album, that was the beginning of this new tone for Clapton moving forward from this point that I loved right through up until now. Everything going, there were periods during the 1970s where it was a bit thin. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I kind of like the tones that he pulled for the records because I'm so used to hearing them that way. Yeah. So I like, especially 461 Ocean Boulevard and Layla and other sort of love songs and that. I love all those tones, but the thing I love about 24 Nights is it kind of like a timestamp of him coming back and owning it as a front person, as a singer, as a guitarist, as an artist. Like he was actually owning it there, where in the past he always shied away from that. I think that was just my, the way I sort of took it, Clapton, especially from the things I've read and the things you can see of his live performances. He just had like a bit more assurance about himself when he was walking on stage in those performances that, I'm going to come out and sing my backside off here. I'm going to play off this band that's amazing and, unbelievable, really. you know, some of the DVD where, you know, Running on Faith, the way it comes in, I get goosebumps even thinking about it. It's just unbelievable. You know.
Yeah. And
he's
I got to
singing,
agree with you.
he's singing in that record, or that whole performance on those 24 nights is fantastic. Night after night, he's just singing remarkably well, you know. So we're talking about a rejuvenated Clapton, in my opinion. That was how I saw it.
And he looks cool too, you know, that period, you know, he's got that longer hair going on, the Armani suits, you know, the beard, you know, as Brad said, you know, he's got that pewter grey Stratocaster, the Soldano head with the Marshall cabs, you know, just, you know, and, you know, I just love everything about that. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Speak of the devil. Hey, brother.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Hey, Michael.
It's funny. I have Andrew in my left ear and Brad in my right ear. I don't know why that is.
Well, that's okay. As long as you got one of us in one ear, it's all right.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Well, look, we've already given a bit of an introduction to 24 Nights. We're going to put up some links on this channel if anybody hasn't already seen the two specials that we've done with Michael, which I think are one of the standout shows that we've done. I'll put links to that. I'll also put links to this stream to Michael's fantastic interview with the mixer. Especially because that's one of the things that attracted us to Michael and got him on the show in the first place. So, Michael, please repeat yourself, brother, because we don't get sick and tired of talking about Clapton and 24 Nights on this channel. So, talk to us, brother.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back. It's great to be a guest on the show and talking about Eric Clapton and 24 Nights, which, as everyone knows, is my favorite. It's my favorite live album by Eric and possibly my favorite live album of all time. And we spoke about it in the two other episodes, as you mentioned before. Everything from the playing, the performances, the musicians that they had, the audio mix, the venue, Royal Albert Hall, everything just added up and was majestic. And it's an unbelievable document of Eric at that time. And I imagine you mentioned that he was 4 years sober at this time, actually 3 years sober, because 1990 was when they started this series, and then they did 24 Nights in 1991. So they did 18 shows in 1990 and then 24 nights in a row in 1991. Hey, Arvin. Hey, Brooks. You know, something that's amazing is this community is so tightly knit. It's amazing that I talk to you guys on Instagram and Facebook, and it's amazing to see everyone.
Yeah.
Look, I've got a couple of things that I want to fire at you, Michael, just to get you going. So you're gigging, which is really great. So if you guys haven't already followed Michael, on the bottom there you'll see some Instagram accounts streaming. So Michael's really easy to find. I happen to have. Follow Michael there. He's playing some gigs. I know that Brad is really envious of the fact that you can do that. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that. But I want to ask you, how's the book going? Because I think the last time you and I were talking, I said to you, look, you're the perfect guy for getting some kind of document together about this era. You know, you've already done some research. You've been to the Royal Albert Hall yourself. You've seen Clapton. You know a little bit about the technical stuff. I'm sure if there's a book that comes out about this era, there'll be a market for it, Michael.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when anyone posts in these Clapton Facebook groups, they show Clapton during this period, the Journeyman era, everyone freaks out at that. That's what I see the most in these groups. It's not people posting Eric in the 70s or the early 2000s. It's the 90s. It's the early 90s. I mean, the 90s was a golden era for him.
Yep.
And he thinks so as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so much happened for him in the 90s with Unplugged and From the Cradle and 24 Nights. And I mean, he was in a jazz band in 1997 when he did Legends with David Sanborn and Marcus Miller and Steve Gadd and Joe Sample or Joe Pass. It was one of those. I mean, he did so much in the 90s. Lay down some justice. Yeah, right now I'm in the den, so I don't have a guitar by me.
No, but it's it's good to see you. So, how's the gigging going, brother? You enjoying that?
Yes, I'm loving it. I'm trying to play everywhere in New York, and I'm applying there. And I just played somewhere in Long Island, New York, last week, and the week before that at a winery. So it's just great. And the venues that I'm playing, they're taking COVID seriously, and they're doing the social distancing, and they're checking vaccine. So they're making sure everyone's safe so that they can have a fun time. And as long as we can do that, that's good. And I hate talking about those mandates and stuff like that. But
yeah.
How's the situation by you guys?
Well, just firstly, it's great to see you're out playing again. And for anyone that doesn't know, they go check out Michael's Instagrams and socials. I'm not very big on Facebook these days, but on Instagram, I noticed Michael is very active, puts a lot of himself playing up there. So make sure you guys go on and subscribe or follow, whatever they call it these days, and keep an eye on what Michael's up to. But, for me, we're still not in a position where we're still in lockdown. We've been locked down for over 300 or I don't know, crazy amount of days. So it's not worth really going into too much. But at some point, we will have freedom and we'll get out and play again. So there you go. That's it from me. Yeah, I'm jealous, but I'm happy jealous that you're out playing again.
Yeah.
Have you got any Clapton songs in your set list from this era in particular, Michael? Is there anything there?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, from this era, I'm doing Layla Unplugged. I'm doing I Shot the Sheriff, but his 2010 Crossroads version.
Yeah,
acoustically, and I do Little Wing, like Derek and the Dominoes version.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
I do After Midnight from 1988 from the Michelob Ultra commercial. I like the groove of it. It works better acoustically than the fast 1970s version. And I put those songs kind of next to each other in the set. But
Nice.
when I play, I like to play a bunch of different artists: Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Clapton, REM. And then I like to play songs for people my age so that they don't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a question here. I can't quite remember when Phil Collins is on drums. There's the
Birmingham, 1986.
Okay. See, guys.
But
Michael.
Phil Collins had toured with Clapton for a while, for a couple of years. I mean, he was even on those 24 Nights shows. There's videos on YouTube of Phil Collins playing drums and singing "Can't Find My Way Home." Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
We did a show last night, and incidentally, Phil Collins came up in one of the conversations we were having, and one of the co-hosts has a music production background, and he mentioned that Phil Collins is a genius when it comes to production. The drummer that we were interviewing, Michael, he said that he was blown away by the August album where that's the album that has this great, it epitomizes the Simmons drum sound, you know, that 80s drum sound that sometimes some people disparagingly criticize, but you've got to give the 80s its credit and its due. And I think he's hit the nail on the head. So I know that we're supposed to be talking about 24 Nights, but I want to ask Brad and in particular Michael, what do you guys think of the precursor to Journeyman and obviously 24 Nights with the August album? Do you rate it?
Brad?
I enjoy the August album. I do enjoy it. Journeyman, in my opinion, is a much better album. Just I love listening to Journeyman.
Yep.
I love songs on Journeyman more than on August, but I'm not going to sit here and knock any Clapton album. I've got them in like timestamps, like in my head for Clapton. So that for me is it's kind of like saying August was a period of his life where, you know, he was changing. Journeyman is a past moment, you know, it's like he's gone past that. So for me, each album for Clapton is like a timestamp. So Journeyman's probably song-wise a much better album than August for me, but I still have a soft spot for August in my heart. Still like it. So sound-wise, Journeyman all the way. 24 Nights, you know, if that could be a studio album, then that would be my favorite studio album, even though it's a live performance. From the Cradle is probably my favorite record from that whole era for me, even though it's all covers, but it's amazing.
From the Cradle's amazing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Michael?
I like August. I agree that there's quite a bit of production on it. I mean, it's heavy 80s production, and I'm sure Phil had a lot to do with it. I do like songs like Run and Tearing Us Apart and Miss You and Holy Mother, which Clapton has played a lot live. And some of those songs that I just mentioned were featured on that 1986 Live in Birmingham. I think it's called Eric Clapton and Friends, 1986.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he's playing the red Strat and the pewter Strat.
Correct.
Yeah. I have to say I agree with you about those songs in particular, Michael, that you mentioned, but I still prefer hearing them live than on that album.
Yeah.
You know, especially Tearing Us Apart and
Tearing Us Apart.
That always scrubbed up really well. And there's a you know, I don't know if you remember that concert series, was it Live at Nebworth, where he's wearing a pink suit and he's playing the Grey Pewter Strat.
Fantastic.
That version of Tearing Us Apart is phenomenal.
Katie Kassoon, amazing, and the band is like doing choreography together.
Yep.
Nathan's moving and Greg Felaganes is moving.
Oh, the foot moves and cross and
yeah.
I've very vivid memories of watching that over and over and over again. That version of Tearing Us Apart, and obviously listening to August, it's not the same for me after you've heard them play it live.
Right.
Back in 2 minutes, guys.
Yeah. So I guess 24 Nights, I think anyone that knows you well, Michael, which, you know, if they follow you on socials, they know everything you do is a comment of 24 Nights. So I'm assuming you live and breathe this record still to this day. That's probably my question to you is, are you still, I know with me, albums that I'm obsessed with, or not obsessed with, but albums that are dear to my heart. Sometimes I need a break from them. And then other times I you know, it's good to, for me, I'll take a break from things and I'll come back to it and I actually feels fresh again. Do you listen to it constantly all the time, or do you give yourself a bit of a break from it every now and again?
Because I've been talking about it so much recently, I've been listening to it a lot. Now that I've been mentioning it on Facebook a lot. The more you mention something, the more you listen to it or you research it or whatever. And because I've been saying it so much on Facebook, I have been listening to it. And because I knew it was the 30th anniversary, I've been listening to it more. But it's never the whole thing in a row. It's usually just one or two songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like whenever I feel like listening to Clapton, I usually do an assortment of Clapton songs lately. I just put on, 24 Nights is in there somewhere, like Old
Yeah.
Love or, Running on Faith or something like that. Like there's versions of things. Sorry, I'm just plugging my computer in because it's about to go flat. But yeah, so I was just interested because I know every comment I see of you whenever I log on to Facebook, 24 Nights comes up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's hysterical. And what you're mentioning is there's a bunch of meme pages that ask questions like, what was your first concert from
somewhat.
people?
Mm.
And so I'll just comment 24 Nights on every poll, on every public poll with millions of comments. And people who I'm friends with who know that I'm obsessed with that album, they see that and now they expect it.
Just give us one
Well,
second to plug this in.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, Michael. So you'll forever be etched in my memory for the rest of my life when I think of 24 Nights.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
Yeah. And you've done well because Brad and I have spoken about it a couple of times too in the past, and we've even mentioned you a few times when we've done shows with the Rock Professor. So I like to pinch a couple of your lines, for example, when we talk about an artist, and if they look exceptionally good or something like that, and I say, well, from Michael's perspective, the artist looked good during this period, because I remember when we did a couple of shows with you, you alerted us to the fact, that Clapton looked good and great, and that was a piece that we spoke about, during the show. And then, you went to a fancy dress ball or something like that, when you were a young guy, dressed as Eric Clapton, and I'm going, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
That's
funny that you
cool.
remember that. Yeah. I was dressed in just the black collared shirt and black suit. And someone asked me if I was going to a funeral, and I said, no, I'm just dressed as Eric Clapton from 24 Nights.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we like about the show, because, when we did that with you, it sort of reinforced to us the whole style thing that a lot of these artists that we like to talk about, because style's important. We talk about the music, we talk about the guitar tone, but we've got to remember that, and we bring that up too. It's the Armani suits, I think, with Clapton will be a defining point for Clapton, just like Jimmy Page and the Dragon suit.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have to say, now that you've mentioned it, Andrew, the dragon suit, there's two things I always wanted to do when I was growing up, being an up and coming guitarist, wanted to be a rock star. I always wanted to look as cool as Jimmy Page, wearing a dragon suit with a Les Paul down here around my ankles. And I always wanted to look as cool as Clapton wearing an Armani suit playing a pewter grey Strat. So there you go.
Well, you got your bases covered, I think. And he still looks cool now, doesn't he? So we're going to just talk a little bit about Clapton. So he's been touring lately, which is great. There's some wonderful clips on YouTube that people are firing up. He's playing just as good, and my gosh, he's singing just as good, isn't he, guys? You guys, I'm sure, have been checking those videos out. Michael?
Yeah, I've been watching them as soon as they come up, and sometimes even sharing them in the Facebook groups. I'm just trying to be on the ball and be one of the first people to see these videos so that we can rate it. We know what he's capable of, and we want to see how he's doing. And I was pretty impressed with a couple of the performances, like Got to Get Better in a Little While. And I really like that they have two drummers, Sonny Emery and Steve Gadd. I think it gave even more life to their sound and allows them to experiment. And Doyle was in great form.
Well, no disrespect to Steve Gadd, no disrespect at all, but you got to have that background, that backbone behind you, So, and having another drummer share that responsibility of sound projections pretty important. And, you know, I'm sure he'd admit it himself because, you know, we're not getting any younger.
Right.
Yeah. It's good to see Doyle Bramall with him as well. I love Doyle Bramall, so he's great. I love his solo stuff. It's fantastic. Such a great artist.
So talented. And he's produced Clapton on many of his records in the 2000s.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, some of the productions are great. I mean, he's amazing. You know, for people who aren't guitar players or people who don't know, he's a left-handed guitar player, but he plays like Albert King upside down. So he's actually pulling down on the string. So, in other words, the light gauge string, which is your first and second and third, at the top of the guitar instead of they're up here. So he's pulling down on the strings to bend. His chord shapes are all different, and it gives a unique style to his playing, and I think it complements Clapton really well.
For me, the highlight, especially in regards to Doyle, are the videos around the time when they did the tribute album to Robert Johnson, you know, and you can see Doyle, you can see actually what he's contributing to that sound, to that tone, and that kind of freaked me up because we kind of knew what kind of guitarist he was when he was with Archangels. If you remember when that band first came out, you know, this was supposed to be the great, you know, the new Led Zeppelin, you know, but that's a separate show. But I think one of the great things that I like about Doyle is his loyalty, because Eric Clapton, in a way, kind of saved his life because we know that Doyle went through some dark patches there, didn't he? You know, so and Clapton kind of helped him through that by giving him stability as far as employment and some focus. It'd be really, really great to read Doyle's biography when it comes out. I'm sure he'll have chapters on Clapton in his book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's got a lot of admiration for Clapton as well. So, you know, which I guess you would playing in his band, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, so, I mean, getting back to 24 Nights, when are you still planning on getting a pewter grey Stratocaster there, Michael, joining the club?
Yes, I used to be checking reverb.com and eBay daily, but I kind of slowed down on that. But I definitely need to keep checking for a pewter gray Strat under $2,000 American. And I'd also like to get a midnight blue custom shop Clapton.
No, that would be nice too.
With the lace sensors.
Yeah.
Can I give you some advice, Michael? And I mean this respectfully. Honest to God, I mean this respectfully. So, Brad and I, on the 51 show, we talk about the price of EVH's guitars, and we did a tribute show a couple of days ago, Michael, on EVH. So, guitars in Canada that were being sold for 1,000 Canadian dollars after EVH's death now have been sold and bought for 7,000 Canadian dollars. So I'm just thinking, you know, Clapton signature Strats, when Clapton passes away, you know, what's going to happen with some of those Stratocasters? You know, are we going to see prices go, you know, ridiculously high? So,
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't even want to think like that at the moment, Andrew. You know, it's hard enough getting over sort of passing of recent musicians and stuff like that without having to think about Clapton passing. But I agree with you to an extent. If you're going to get one, Michael, get in and get one in the next 10 years, hopefully, or something like that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I saw someone mention, it was Brooks Reed, mentioned the 1988 Tokyo show is phenomenal. That's what he said. Yeah, it's an amazing show. I was watching that recently. I was watching Tokyo. I was watching San Francisco. I think both of them were with Mark Knopfler. And Mark, much in between the vocals. It's beautiful. If you listen to his work on a song like White Room or I Shot the Sheriff, just unbelievable. And Mark gets to play his big hits, Money for Nothing. I forget what else he plays, but Mark is great. Very underrated.
Oh, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
And he's the one that turned on Eric to Soldano.
Yeah. Yep. Soldano. Yes. Well, next year I'm actually looking at I've seen the plugins for Soldanos. I'm going to get one of those next year for my home studio, and I'm going to start recording some stuff with that as well. So I'm going to give it a go with the because I've done a fair bit of research, and I even watched Peter Thorne's little demo on them and stuff like that. They're remarkably good for what you pay for it to actually have one to record with. It's pretty darn good. It picks up all the nuances on the guitar really well. And I've always been against digital, like for recording. I still prefer hearing tubes, you know. But this thing's really good. So if it's one step closer to a Soldano SL0100 there, Michael, then that's the way to go, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. I tried a little publicity stunt the other day by saying if I could get 2,400 likes in a day, then I'll buy a Soldano SL0100. I was hoping that Mike Soldano would have seen the post, and I mean, it got 180 likes, so that's 180 people that did not know about Soldano before it. And it'd be nice if they sent me one. That'd be cool.
Ben Tom has said, did I try that? No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I've watched all the demos on it.
Yeah, the Neural DSP. That's what I saw.
I'm definitely going to get one next year when I do some upgrades to my home studio. I'm definitely going to get one because, well, I mean, I'll mention it on this show. I'm actually going to be releasing something hopefully in January, a new song, and then next year I'll be doing some more recording, like and I want that for the recording session. You know what I mean? I want to use that I want to try it and see what I come up with, because most of the recordings I've ever done have always been with valve amps, except overdubs I've used for cleaner stuff and stuff. I've used some plugins, but because it's simplicity factor more than anything else. But the beef of the tone is always come from a valvey amp. But I've watched numerous demos on it, and I'm really impressed. Really impressed. Yeah, he's just said.
I'd love to get one of those hot rod 25s that Soldano does. So it's the little head, and the good thing with the Soldanos, because we're EVH Van Halen chasers as well, so that can cross over. You know, you can tweak that to get some Halen tones, as well as that nice high gain tone that Clapton gets on 24 Nights. But they're not cheap, but they're available. It's interesting that we're talking about Soldanos, because I'd love one of those amps.
Well, I think the plugin's probably the closest I'll ever get until I get famous. It's a lot of 100. So I definitely, for recordings and that, I've been thinking about it for a long time, about embracing a bit of modern technology to help speed things up and maybe pump out some more songs in a year than I can doing it the way I'm doing it, just because for the ease of being able to even do it late at night, I can put headphones on and without cranking a Marshall in another room and isolating it and waking up all the neighborhood trying to get the tone after. You know, technology is sort of taking over, and I think it's going to make songwriters have this tone that we're hearing in our heads so easily. So definitely worth doing, and I can't wait to get it and put my Clapton Strat through it and see what it sounds like.
Are they expensive, those Soldano plugins?
The plugins, I mean, look, they're reasonably priced for what they are.
Okay. I'll be keen. I'll be keen to hear what you think. Yeah.
I might, if I get one, I might do something. I'll do it for the channel here. I'll do something, maybe a pre-recorded video. I'll do a 24 Nights thing, and I'll plug my Clapton Strat in, and I'll do something for the channel, Andrew.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like when you do those videos where you show yourself turning on the amp and then you sit down and you play the guitar. It's just like a whole stitch of things together.
They're just, those things of me just, I don't know, frustrated at the moment. I'm finding ways to keep myself occupied.
Did you see the video that he did where he's claiming responsibility for the little earthquake, Michael, that they had in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, yes, I did.
Brad's got a story to tell about that video. I'm not going to tell it because Brad's going to tell it. Tell us about the hits that you got on that versus everything else you do, bro.
It's unbelievable. Like you do yourself playing your best licks, or the most frustrated like guitar playing you can do, or most amazing sort of playing you can do, and you get like, I don't know, you're lucky to get 1,000 views if you're lucky. You do that and you get these astronomical views. So it just goes to show it's not what you do, it's how stupid you do it. That's what I'm going to say.
It's correct. That I can attest to that. I got a TikTok. I created a TikTok account. And I did like Brad did. I posted videos of me playing guitar pretty decently, and it did nothing. It got 10 likes. It maybe got 100 views. Then I posted the video of myself, just like I put on a guitar and I was backing up to record myself. And I backed up and I hit the guitar on something and I said, "Ah." I reacted. I was just like, "Ah." That has the most views of all of my videos.
And it wasn't scripted.
Correct. I tore a hole in the guitar, and
I'm going to have to open up a TikTok account just to go and see that. So I'm going to hit you up later on and DM and ask you for your. I want to see that.
Well, the stupider the better, mate. Because like on Instagram, I think I got I don't know, up to about 4,000 views on something stupid, and I get like 200 views on something really, really that I'm putting my heart and soul into playing the best I can, and you get 200 views and maybe one like,
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I just don't understand it.
But well, back to the topic. When we deviated away, the Soldano sound, Clapton, that to me is my favorite Clapton tone, and if I get that plug in, I'm going to really try and hone that tone.
Go on Where's Eric and dial in those settings and see if it sounds anything like Eric.
Yeah, well, I'm not, that's the thing, I'm going to have to get my head around using plugins, and then obviously I'll be sourcing those sort of things, looking at the actual, what do you call it, the actual settings and stuff. I'll be trying all that. I might even do a comparison thing for the channel. I might pre-record it, Andrew, and you can throw it up.
Bro, Bent's asking you a question there. If you'd like to answer that, that'll be really cool, please.
Oh, well, I was just talking to Andrew about that. What did you use for the vibe sound? Oh, okay. I'll grab it for you. I'll show it because I want to highlight this company, because he's a great Melbourne guitar player and he builds pedals. And I think it's, we've got to support Melbourne businesses, especially now more than ever. So I'll grab it and I'll show it.
I've got to say, Michael, you're looking good, brother. You're looking good since the last time I've seen you.
Thank you. I just got this jacket yesterday at the Gap.
Wow.
For $20, $24.
Well, I want you to there, look at that. Stylish, Michael.
Thank you. I'm going to be wearing it every day.
I want to, if you can isolate that, Andrew. That's they call it, the company's called Klinger, Melbourne, Australia. This guy builds pedals. He's a fantastic guitar player as well. He's got his own music out, worth looking up. But this guy's amazing. I've got links on my socials and stuff to him as well. So check out Klinger Pedals in Melbourne, Australia. He sent me this one. He spoke to me about what vibe sound I was after, and he kind of made some mods to this one to get it sort of sounding, because this is like a production one. I know he doesn't do many of these a year because sourcing the parts for these is really difficult. So he only makes a limited amount per year. This, I know, look, it's a fairly big pedal, by the way. It's fairly,
Wow. That's pretty chunky, bro.
it's got a lot in it as well. But the point of the matter is what I'm getting at. It's one of the closest vibe pedals I've got or used, sorry, should I say, to what like a classic Univibe sounds like. Because I've actually used a classic Univibe, like one from the 60s, the late 60s.
Brilliant.
And I would love to A/B this against one because it sounds fantastic. And I mean, you guys have seen or heard that tone on my YouTube channel, so you know what it sounds like. That's the pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brad, can you move the pedal to the right of your face? I want to get now smile. No, to the right. Oh, yes, now smile. Okay, we got an ad for 69 Vibe Klinger. We'll send that to them, and then they'll share that on their channel, we hope.
And that is my fuzz pedal, and that's a hybrid fuzz. He did this one for me. We spoke quite in depth about through messaging, obviously, what sort of fuzz I was after. Yep. And this is a fuzz pedal that's available that he does. He builds them, but we tweaked it a little bit just so that it was closer to the tones I was after. So, we referenced a lot of things, and we had some similar interests as well, and Philip Sace being one of them. So there's a pretty cool Philip Sace vibe out of this, but I can dial up some really cool Hendrix, Band of Gypsies vibes and stuff like that with this. And the unique thing about it is it's a fuzz face on this side, and it's an Octavia on that one.
Oh wow!
Really? Yeah. So, and we've got adjustables, and unlike a lot of fuzzes that just got a volume and a fuzz control, like those two, I'm looking at it backwards. So, it's actually got like a tone and a mid-range adjustment as well. Usually, I don't really have a setting for them. I usually just sort of leave them in the middle and dial it back or forth depending on what it sounds like on the day, because fuzzes are very unique pedals. They sound a little bit different each time you plug them in, but similar, if that makes sense. And we've got a switch here that makes it like a Tiger Bray, and so it's like a germanium and a silicon fuzz in one.
Wow, that's a beautiful looking pedal too, bro. Just bring it a little bit closer so we can see the graphic. Wow.
It's funny. I had a sun face by Analog Man, and it had obviously a sun on it. So
yeah,
your Klinger pedal reminds me of my sun face a little bit.
This is my So, and I've recently been talking to Philip about like with his fuzzes and stuff like that, like how he pulls that tone. And obviously, I haven't got it plugged in to demonstrate, and maybe I'll do that another time. But you can leave your fuzz on, and then roll your volume back on your guitar from 10, just roll it back to about 8 or 9 or 7, somewhere there. And even when you roll it back even cleaner, it cleans up, gives you that really bright, brittle, bell-like thing, Stevie Ray, that sort of vibe. It really brings out that. Sounds phenomenal.
There's a question there for you, Michael. I'd like you to answer if you want to have a go, and then maybe Brad's got some thoughts on it too.
If you can recall the farewell concert video interview of Clapton, he talks about, in the end, about playing aggressive. It seems like he's doing the same on a lot of the 24 Nights solos. Thoughts? I think that Clapton is playing a little bit aggressively on songs like Have You Ever Loved a Woman, especially the second solo on 24 Nights. I think that solo is pretty aggressive to me. He's playing with a lot of attack and speed. So that's something that we hadn't really seen from him since then. So they are comparable. Have You Ever Loved a Woman is slightly aggressive in that second solo. When he launches into the solo in Bad Love, it's slightly aggressive, but it's very melodic. I mean, everything that he does is melodic, but it does have a kind of aggression to it when he just digs into that first bend. Is there anything else that's aggressive? I mean, I would say it's more passionate. It's passionate. It's definitely more passionate in certain songs like Old Love, and more aggressive in songs like Have You Ever Loved a Woman and White Room and Sunshine. The end of Sunshine, when Clapton's just soloing just him and there's no band. That's kind of aggressive. And I can't believe that he even did something like that. What do you guys think in terms of his aggressiveness playing?
He definitely, for me, he seems like he's doing the solos on 24 Nights. He's definitely playing more ferociously, without a doubt, in my opinion, than I've seen him previously. And with the Clapton, with the farewell, you mean the Cream farewell video of Clapton? Yeah, seems like he's doing the same a lot. Yeah, he's definitely playing more aggressive. I call it like ferociously. He's just going for it a bit more. There's more. He's more, what do you call it, focused in 24 Nights than I've ever seen him play on anything before that. There's more focus there. So for me, when I think of Clapton, when people talk Clapton, I always think of 24 Nights as being Clapton, how he plays that style, what he's playing in 24 Nights. There's certain things that he does, and I don't claim to be an Eric Clapton, like I can't play like Eric Clapton, but there's certain things that he does where he'll do these runs, and he does it, and he'll do this run, and then he'll just hit that low E string, say it's a running E, and then he just lets the E go at space, and then he comes back in. What I'm saying is, like, he ferociously does something, and then he sort of does that, and then comes back in. He does that sort of thing a lot. I reckon he gets a lot of that influence just from being closely associated to Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's just my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, his technique changed a little bit, didn't it? And his vibrato changed, I think, for me around when Behind the Sun, Forever Man, when that song became a big hit. And if you just have a look at that fiery little solo that he does, and his vibrato isn't as delicate as it had been, previously. So he's really, doing something. There's something definitely going on there, and he builds up, through the late, 80s. But what's really interesting about the 24 Nights thing is that, and I haven't, put a lot of research into this show, guys, but I think we'll all agree there are moments when he's doing some of these solos where he's just absolutely delicate with that vibrato, where he's using his third finger and also his what's that finger? What's that pointy? The pointy finger
index?
As well, at the index finger. So he's using both fingers for vibratos, and I can't remember exactly the solos, but I'm sure that you guys will agree with me that he's using these two different types. But to offset that, and just to throw another little rabbit hole for us to go down, if you go and have a look at that concert in Argentina, which is around the same time, and he's just playing. There's no delicacy. He's just ripping it up on that. That's that River Plate gig, and he's just ripping it up, brother. Wow!
Some of the best playing he's ever done, I reckon, is on that performance.
Yeah.
24 Nights is the same sort of era, so he's really hitting it hard. But I think he was just in his element at that performance. He was just going for it. So I believe Clapton was always like before this era, before the 24 Nights, he was always very much about playing the blues and everything like that. And I still think to this day, Buddy Guy was a big influence on Clapton. And I still think to this day, Stevie Ray Vaughan influenced him a lot around that period in time. And he was not trying to play like those guys, but that was rubbing off on his playing a bit. So he was playing a bit more ferociously. And Stevie Ray was, as we know, a monster. He was a ferocious player. He would just dig into those, 12 gauge strings and 13 gauge strings and play like a animal. So, and it was all about, inner, outer. So the spirit of Stevie was coming through. And I think Clapton was trying to incorporate that a lot in his playing, which he did, without doubt.
Yeah, you made a good point before when you mentioned that Clapton will hit a low E string and then just wait and then play a lick. And that's something that you said that Stevie Ray Vaughan did. And that's
all the time.
You hear that in Crossfire or in Pride and Joy. Yeah. He does it all the time.
Yeah. And Clapton never used to do a lot of that before, in my opinion, from my observations with him. He never used to do a lot of that where he just, and hit that low E and let it ring. And then.
Right.
That sort of thing, where I think that's a more, not saying that he was copying Stevie Ray or anything, but that influence obviously rubbed off on him a lot. He saw Stevie played with him,
and it's also the responsibility, guys, of these two guys as being band leaders too, because hitting that bottom E is really important, because that's a signifying point to the rest of the band, that something's going to happen as well too, and it gives them, I don't know what the term is, because I'm not musically trained, but it gives at least an opportunity for the rest of the band to reset, because we're going to go into a solo, so the solo's got 4 chords in this solo, so we're going to make sure that we're going to focus on that. Very clever, very responsible of them, because they're taking care of their band, so they're going to hit the note, hit everything all on time. Good point, guys.
I always think it was like that moment of like, I mean business now, when you do that open string,
You better not cock up, drummer, bass player, and keyboarder. You better, okay, because Daddy's playing now.
I mean business, So yeah, but I definitely he's playing to answer. I know we've gone around in a circle a little bit to answer that question. I think he definitely referring to that farewell concert where he's interviewed and he's talking about it. Definitely in 24 Nights, he's playing more ferociously, more aggressively, without a doubt. I think around that period, even on From the Cradle, he's playing some ferocious stuff on that.
5 Long Years, Groaning the Blues, yeah.
Yeah, he's just playing next level. That exactly what Ben Toms just said there. I was just about to say Bad Love from that River Plate gig. Yeah, that's badass.
I love that.
I love the 24 Nights version as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's my favorite version.
It is badass, Ben. Yep.
Quick shout out to Albanese Marilyn. She just shared our live video in the Cream of Eric Facebook group.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Albanese. Thanks for sharing. And if anyone here is new, please subscribe to the British Electric Blues Show on YouTube.
Would really appreciate it.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
Anybody who subscribes to our channel will immediately sub back. So if you guys are trying to build your own channels, we sub back. That's the best Brad and I can do.
Exactly. Well, boys, 24 Nights. Mate, Ben's reading my brain or something. I was going to say the wah pedal use, and he's just put that in the comments. I was just about to say, well, boys, the wah pedal on 24 Nights is probably something that we haven't spoken about. And it's in the chat.
Unbelievable.
Ben, I don't know what's going on, mate. You just
we need to get Bent on a show in the future soon. He needs to come on.
So yeah, Clapton was, his use of the wah pedal in that, and you highlighted that in your little demo on Pretending there, Michael, too. The wah pedal, you featured the wah pedal. So obviously it's a big part of Clapton, his playing on that performance.
Yeah, he played on White Room, Pretending, and Bad Love. So 3 songs featured wah-wah.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you guys then regarding the wah. So how instrumental do you think those songs were for situating the wah again in the 90s? It went out of favour there for a while. Clapton brought it in. We saw the likes of, EVH using it in 91 to around the same time, and then we saw a few guys, the grunge guys, getting into it. So
I was just about to mention that. Alice in Chains would use it, yeah. Alice in Chains would use
it. But definitely, like Clapton was, I don't think Clapton wasn't using a wah pedal much before August, was he? Like that album, I can't remember seeing performance him using the wah that much. It was probably 24 Nights is probably more the most I've seen him use a wah in a long time from memory. I'm trying to rack the brain now, but that wah and it literally is just a Jim Dunlop wah, isn't it? It's just was he using the Hendrix one, or was it a Crybaby?
I think it was a Crybaby. I mean, you could see a black pedal. I don't know what the brand is, but he has used Crybabies a lot.
Pretty sure it's a Jim Dunlop.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Jim Dunlop Crybaby. I did read somewhere that he favoured the Jimi Hendrix Jim Dunlop wah. I'm not sure if that's correct though. It could be.
He used the Jimi Hendrix Dunlop wah in the early 2000s at the Cream reunion gig. Well, in New York. I mean, he used a wah in London for one or two of the shows, but it didn't make it to DVD. They didn't use those takes. Yeah. Thank you, Brooks, for that comment. Thank you.
Does the wah come with Eric's hands?
I mean, his use of the wah is actually incredible. He's not using it in a traditional way where you would just go up and down. He's using it expression. He's using it very texturally and expressively. Yeah.
He's
go ahead.
No, he was an innovator with the wah pedal back in Cream, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's using it back there. So musically, so definitely, it was expressing himself with the wah as opposed to other players that use it as like an effect.
Right, and Eric will turn on the wah mid-solo in a song like Pretending. In the second solo of Pretending, he's playing a double stop, and then he steps on the wah. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, most people would turn on the wah at the beginning of the solo.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine turning on distortion in the middle of your solo? That would sound ridiculous.
The only player that used to do similar things to that would have been like Hendrix, because a lot of that was improvised anyway. He'd just stomp on a pedal when he felt like it. And I have seen Stevie Ray stomp on wahs here and there, like when he because players like Clapton, it's like an afterthought sometimes, a pedal, because they're just going for it. And I think with Clapton, you see him going for the mid boost all the time on the guitar. So that's something he's thinking about a lot, but he's probably not thinking about the pedal as much. But to back up what you said there, Michael, I think he's probably thought the wah needs to come in here, not at the start. So that's how he thinks,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up Stevie Ray, because he double stacked, didn't he? His tube screamers just to get that clean boost. So often he would do that during a solo too. He'd have no problems, clean boosting during a solo a couple of times when you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, Stevie Ray was always experimenting with pedals and stuff. I think Clapton was a little bit more just set with a couple of things, and that was it. He was never especially in that era, he had that rack system and everything. But the bulk of his tone was coming from his guitar and the soldado.
Well, that's correct, and you've hit the nail on the head there. Just with your previous comment, we've got to acknowledge the fact that his guitar has the TBX and the tone boost on there as well. Yeah. So, again, you guys go and watch any clip, any video of Clapton, and you'll see he's always fiddling with his guitar, with those knobs. He's all, just a delicate touch, and because we've all got Clapton guitars, we know exactly what he's doing here. You only need to touch it a little bit, you know, because he's not, he's not turning it completely, but you just need to touch it, from a 4 to a 5, and the tone difference in those Clapton Strats is remarkable, Brad and Michael.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's a unique tone to those guitars, and I can only imagine what one would sound like plugged into a Soldano. Just be phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We've been going for an hour and a half, Michael. We said that we'd only drop in for just a quick chat and a hi, because we've got a show coming up later on this evening with the Rock Professor.
LA Woman, right?
LA Woman, and I know that you said, hold on, I'm going to hold you to it. I know that you said that you were going to come back and do this album with us when we picked this album. So I'm going to pick it before Christmas. So I'll let you know. How many weeks do you need notice before you come on to a show if you're going to be doing ranking the tracks on this with us? How many weeks notice do you need? A couple of weeks?
3 weeks and 3 days.
Okay. All right. Just to make sure that it fits in, because
That's 24 nights.
Oh shit! You got me. You got me. All right.
Michael's going to come back on the show with a tattoo 24 nights.
My tombstone's going to say it.
Yeah. He's going to come back with a tattoo on his arm, just this way. It says 24 nights. Just that's it.
Oh, you ratbag. Michael, you've got a home here. Anytime you want to pop on, don't ask for an invite, okay? Please, anytime you want to jump in, hang out with Brad and I and the Rock Professor or the Rev, just let us know. We'll make room for you. I'll even make you a cup of tea. Love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael, for jumping on.
Thank you, guys.
Last minute.
Have you got the chat up, Michael?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to ask if you would like to do the goodbye shout out for us. If you'd like to do that, I would be humbled, and I'm sure so would Brad, if that's okay.
Yes. Let me scroll back a little bit. I don't know how far back I got to go, but thank you to Brooks, Nelson, Teresa, John. Let's see. Who else do we got? Bent, Arvin. And I think that covers the commenters. And thank you to anyone else who's been watching and commenting. And a quick answer to Brooks Reed. I was using my Line 6 Pod XT that was simulating a Soldano SLO 100. I had a chorus setting on it and a ton of hall reverb on the Pod XT. I would say it was at 80%. So a ton of reverb.
Wow.
Slight chorus, Soldano setting. And I was using the Clapton loaded pickguard in my Strat, but it had vintage noiseless pickups, not the lace sensors. And I was using a McCoy, a full tone McCoy wah pedal.
Nice.
Awesome.
Play us out, Bradders.
No, I'm not even plugged in, brother.
Oh, and Johnny Heartbreaker.
Awesome, Johnny. I just want to do a quick little couple of shout-outs, though, to guys. Thank you, Michael, for jumping on. Can you do me a favour? I'm sure you've got it handy. If you can just flick me a link soon, so I've got it fresh on Instagram for your article, so I can attach it to this video, please. That would be great, because I think people need to go and renegotiate that article. It's a wonderful piece of musical research. The questions that Michael asked the guy is a document, I think, for professional authors to go and read to get the questions right, because a lot of them are shonky. So Michael's article is a good explanation of how you go about asking valid and important questions. I'll link also, guys, our videos that we did with Michael on 24 Nights. Please go and check them out. We're just humble guys, but we're really, really proud of those videos that we've put up. We put a lot of work into them. Michael especially, some of his presentations on the songs just, took us to another level. Appreciate it, Michael.
Thank you.
Brad and Michael. Brad, can I give you an opportunity, bro, to say a quick shout-out, and then we'll pass it on to Michael to say goodbye, and I'll see you in a couple of hours, brother.
Yeah, shouts out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much. Anyone who watches this back later, if you're not subscribed already, please do so. And we want to thank you, Michael, for jumping on short notice. And, it became apparent to me when Andrew sent me a message this morning that it was 30th anniversary of 24 Nights. We said, we better get on. We better do it. So thank you for joining us, Michael. And
we're coming back, Johnny. This is an early show. We're going to be back on the same time with the Rock Professor. Come back.
Yeah, I was just about to say, tune in, guys, later. What is it now? It's probably in about 2.5, 3 hours, is it, Andrew? From now, we're coming back.
Yeah.
To do LA Woman by the Doors, and we're looking forward to doing that. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Andrew and Brad. Subscribe, everyone.
Yeah. Let's do it. Get this up to 1,000.